today. Thank you for coming, and thank you for being here. Would all the Leadership Warren County participants please stand up? Any grads? Come on. All the Leadership Warren County, look at these people. Woo! Thank you for being here. I want to also thank all our sponsors. We really appreciate your donations and your time. Thank you so much. And now I would like to introduce our featured speakers today. The Warren County Commissioners, Shannon Jones, Dave Young, and Tom Grossman. I don't think they need any more introduction than that. I think everybody knows them, so please come on up.
Does this work? Oh yeah, it does work. All right, so this is a formal meeting of the Warren County Commissioners. So I will start it like we always start our meetings, which is to stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Is there any business to deal with before we start our talk? All right, so I think most of you know who we are. In Warren County, there are, and by the way, I'll give a little bit of an overview of what we are, what we do, how we're structured. And I think that most of you know this, or some of you certainly do, but the Warren County Commissioners are created by state statute. The legislature created the Warren County Commissioners, as they did all of the countywide elected offices. And because of that, our only function is exactly what the legislature has given us. We have specific jurisdiction and authority only over what the state legislature has provided in state law. If it's silent, we don't have any authority. That's different from a city. So cities are actually created in Ohio by the Ohio Constitution. And the only thing that they're prohibited from doing is what is expressly prohibited. If it's silent, they can do it. That's not true of us. So we have 3 commissioners. We have staggered elections. You have an election this past year in 2024 for David and Shannon. And in the next second-year cycle, which would be 2026 for me, is the next year in which I would be up for election. So, so that's how we're elected for a term of 4 years. Then we have so our basic responsibilities, and I'm just going to summarize this. We're responsible for budgeting and finances for the county with regard to determining the budgets of the countywide elected offices, the common pleas courts, the county courts, and with regard to that, now the courts tell us what their budget's going to be, and under state law we have to do that. We have to accept their budget. But with regard to the countywide offices, we work with them and establish how much money they need each year. Shannon Jones, who used to be a state senator for Ohio and a state representative in Warren County, is very knowledgeable what's going on at the state, which is helpful. And today she informed us that the state budget had a provision that ended the county coroner being an elected officer of the county and is going to make it an appointment position, which apparently is because there are some smaller counties that have difficulty finding a person who can do the coroner job that lives in the county, because the only way in which you can be elected as a county officer is if you actually live there. So they're now changing that to allow us to appoint the coroner, which apparently, so like I say, some coroners or some counties, people just aren't dying to get into the position. Okay, that's the, I'm gonna leave all the rest of the corny jokes for Dave. So in the event. So one of the other things that we're responsible for is our facilities. We're responsible to make sure all of our countywide elected offices have a office and facilities, and that's one of the things that we do. And with regard to that, we provide buildings and facilities for those officers, and I'll talk briefly about that. Now, I also, with regard to our county, we have had a very healthy growth rate in our county. And in fact, if you take a look at the period of time from 2010 to 2022, we had a growth rate in our county of about 17% was our population growth rate. The United States growth rate was 7.7%. The Ohio growth rate was 1.9%. We've always been, more recently, in the top 3 most fastest growing counties in the state. The counties around Columbus, there's a couple counties there, Franklin County and Delaware County, that have also been very fast growing counties. But we've been 3rd or 4th for many, many years, which means that we have more and more services that we have to provide. And one of the things that we have done in recent years, we had to build a new jail for our sheriff. And I believe that the sheriff's office is the largest. They employ the most people of all the countywide elected officials. And that was a very major project that Shannon and Dave and I all worked on. And that jail has been built. It's now occupied. And we're also now engaged in building another facility, and that's for our county courts. The county courts in Warren County have the jurisdiction of a municipal court. And their building is being built. It'll be completed. I believe that'll be occupied in May. So that's going on our campus that's right there in Lebanon, and that should be completed soon. We previously built a building some years ago that holds our Board of Elections, our prosecutor's office, and our dispatchers, the people that take calls for emergency services. And we have a what's called a CAD system, which is a computer-aided dispatch system, and we partner with numerous other jurisdictions with regard to that. And so when our maybe a fire company within our county can't meet the needs, we actually get help from other jurisdictions as well that are outside the county. So we have some partners in that. So with regard to how we function too, this is something that when we have high school students who come and periodically visit us from Lebanon High School. And Dave Young frequently likes to ask them what type of authority we have. In our country, at our federal level and at our state level, you have an executive, and that's the President of the United States or the Governor of Ohio. You have a legislature in Ohio, and at the federal level, you have a House of Representatives and a Senate, and then you have a judiciary. And Dave always likes to ask, well, what are we? What exactly are we? And the fact is, we have all 3 roles at different times. And so, for example, too, we hold hearings. We actually, we don't have jurisdiction over municipalities or those areas, but we do have jurisdiction over townships. And with regard to townships that aren't home rule, we do the zoning for those townships. And one time we had a pastor and his staff come in. They wanted to change zoning to do a project on property they owned, which we then allowed. And at his next church service, I actually saw it, and he mentioned that he'd gone to the county commissioners and how wonderful they were, particularly me. And again, I'll leave the last jokes for Dave. So in any event, And he said, and this was the commissioners, he said, but I don't know what they do. The only commissioner I know is Commissioner Gordon from Batman. So I had to call him up to help him a little bit with that. So I'm going to leave it now to my colleagues to tell you some of the other things we've been doing in the county this year. And we've had some, even through the period of COVID, we had tax revenue that was very strong. We were able to we didn't lay off anybody. And, you know, our two main areas where we earn money is from the real estate tax. We get a portion of the real estate tax, and we get a portion of the state sales tax. So I will now turn this over to Shannon Jones.
Thank you so much. And thank you to the Area Progress Council for inviting us to be here today. It's always nice to see so many familiar faces and a couple of new faces. I do want to recognize our countywide elected officials who are here and how grateful we are for your partnership. If you all wouldn't mind standing to be recognized. I know I saw the sheriff, I saw the clerk, I saw the prosecutor if he hasn't snuck out yet, the auditor. Go ahead and stand up. Yes, thank you, Judge. You follow directions. Yeah. Thank you all for being here today. I know I can speak on behalf of the entire board and how fortunate we are to have partners in this work together, so thank you. We also have many of our directors and senior level staff that are here today, and I want to make sure that you all know as taxpayers that you have some of the best people working on your behalf in this community. They are not the highest paid people in public service, but they are some of the best, hardest working, and people who are grounded in our core values. And we appreciate the work that you all do every day. So give yourselves a round of applause, please. Yeah, thank you. We get to sit up here and talk about how awesome things are, but the people like Martin and Susan and Crystal are really responsible for ensuring that our policies get implemented day to day, and we couldn't sit up here and talk about the great things without having their strong leadership. I think I'll just set the stage a little bit after our government lesson on what we do, to talk a little bit about why we do what it is that we do. And I like to sort of start us off grounded in some key figures, because I have a lot of people who they pay sales taxes and they pay their property taxes, and they don't necessarily know what are the services they get as a result of that. So just to give you an idea, our annual budget's about $93 million, and Dave, Tom, and I feel very strongly about fiscal discipline. And it's not just a slogan that we drag out at election time, it's the thing that we live and breathe every day above everything else. We want to provide high-quality services to the taxpayers who rightly demand high-quality services from us, but we want to do it in a way that's fiscally prudent. And what that does for us is that it allows us to weather the storm when storms happen, like a global pandemic or a recession. It allows us to be able to weather through those things and not have to look back to you all to fill those budget gaps. But it also allows us to take advantage of opportunities when they present themselves. And so, I think one thing you can look at to really that underscores what we mean about being fiscally prudent is while we have a $93 million budget, we have a carryover of $83 million and a $12 million rainy day fund. So while a lot of that $83 million we know we're going to need in the next fiscal year, we are prudent in and judicious in how we spend those resources, and we do that on your behalf. As a result, we think our strong values and fiscal discipline really enable us and it's reflective of the culture that you all come from. I mean, we all come from communities. We all have this core conservative value, and it manifests itself in a way that kind of keeps us focused on some key government services. So I'm going to just talk about a couple of them briefly, just so you know when you're asked at the dinner table tonight what in the world the county commissioners do. You can say, well, they do some really exciting stuff like sewers and make sure our water's clean, which we do those. So among the basic services that we provide, so we do have water and sewer services for many of you who are in this room today. We also provide some transportation services, very limited, but we do have a new transportation provider in the community that's getting up and running, and hopefully to improve the quality of service to a lot of senior citizens in particular in this county. At a much better cost for taxpayers, so we're excited that that's coming on board. We also provide, and our telecom department does a really great job of helping to support the emergency services of all of the departments that exist in the county. And we provide almost $500,000 annually in support of our local political subdivisions to help them with radio communication, so the equipment and the support around the equipment. And so that's something that actually isn't statutorily required on our behalf, that the state doesn't require us to do, but we think it's a good partnership that we have with our local communities, and because we are so fiscally prudent, we're able to continue at this time, at least to continue to provide this kinds of service. And we think it sets us up to have some of the best emergency management and emergency services in all the state. And so we're really proud of that. We also run human services, as many of you know, and I want you to know of our $93 million budget, only about 1.5% of that budget is spent on human services. And so, as Tom mentioned, the largest piece of our budget goes to the jail and to the sheriff's department. But we are responsible by statute for a lot of the human services, since we are a county-administered human services state. And in doing that, the same values that we hold for all other areas of our budget, we maintain for our human services. And what that's meant is, we only have one adult on cash assistance in the entire county. We believe in the value of hard work, and we do everything we can. Ohio Means Jobs and our Jobs and Family Services work really hard to support families when there is job change and instability, and to get them connected with work. As a result, our county in this region has the lowest unemployment rate. We're at about 4.5% unemployment compared to Hamilton County, Butler County, Claremont County. They're at 4.9%, and Montgomery County to our north is at 5.5%. And so we're really proud of the values in this community that really values hard work and commitment to family. And I think that our human services team really kind of exemplifies that on your behalf. So they're operating this work in a way that's consistent with the way that you operate your own budgets at home and your own budgets in your business and your organization. So I guess I would just close on this point. It's, first of all, it's one of gratitude, genuinely grateful for the opportunity that you all give me to sit in this seat, and know that I don't take it lightly. and that I work hard every day to ensure that your values are reflected in the day-to-day decisions that are made. And it truly is the greatest privilege of my life to be able to, my professional life, to be able to do this. So thank you for that. And finally, that I'm super conscious of the fact that with all of this conservative management, that sometimes we need to do things proactively so that we can take advantage of these kind of narrowing windows where we get to determine the kind of community we're going to have in the future. As this county continues to grow, whether we like it or not, there is less and less land that's available for development. And we have to be mindful as there's less land and there are increasing needs for things like housing and large tracts of land for business development and so forth, and the transportation pressures that come with it. We have to be really thoughtful and proactive about the community that we want to become, because the growth is going to happen. And we have limited ways to impact that. And so the one project that I would want to highlight for you, because I think it's indicative of that, is along our I-75 corridor. There's less and less land along the I-75 corridor. Those of you who are in real estate development, understand this fact. And the county has been involved with a project called Renaissance Point. That's in partnership with the city of Middletown. If you're familiar with Atrium Hospital and you've seen some construction going on over there, that's the beginnings of Renaissance Point. And the county made the decision a few years ago to use some one-time ARPA dollars to see if we could work in collaboration with the city of Middletown to get something really exciting moving. And as a result, we're really close to, there's some preliminary work happening on the site right now, but we're really close to inking a deal to build an anchor arena. And that anchor arena, we're currently in negotiations with U.S. Hockey League for a developmental hockey league and team. We have an international company that is interested in locating the team here alongside USHL. They were out here a few weeks ago, and they are super excited about this. And why this is exciting for the county is because for a small investment, we're able to leverage $200 million, $100 million direct in this facility and $100 million in surrounding economic development activity, meaning sales tax revenue, in bringing hundreds of thousands of new, unique visitors to the community, and leveraging one of our strongest assets in the community. And I know Dave is going to talk about tourism, but really leveraging the work that Phil Smith and the CVB does with our #1 industry, providing a brand new asset for them to be able to market and extend our tourism season, and have a facility to bring concerts and other exciting, even we don't have a place in Warren County where schools can have graduations. Because there just isn't a place big enough. And so this is a really exciting opportunity that is leveraging so much private investment for a really high quality project. And so we're grateful to our partners at the City of Middletown, and keep your fingers crossed. There'll be more to come soon, but to say that the USHL and their chosen expansion team is excited about this prospect would be an understatement. So super excited about that, but that's why being well managed and fiscally prudent provides these sorts of opportunities, we can take advantage of them that help us determine what we want to be when we grow up or grow out, whatever the case may be. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Dave.
One more thing. Thank you. So before we turn it over to our main speaker, sorry, Dave. So in any event, so this year something different has happened that's never happened in our county before, and that is that we are replacing this year 4 of our countywide elected officials. So I want to take special note of them because while I think most of you may know them already, I want to specifically introduce them each to you. So this year, I think that Jim Spaeth was our county clerk since maybe 1996. He retired this year, and Brighton Smith is our new county clerk over here. Brighton. Next, for many years, and I think just as long as Mr. Spaeth, was Neil Tunison, our county engineer. Very important position, did a very good job for us, and his right-hand person, Kurt Weber, is now our new engineer, and I think he's back in the back. Next, while Barney Wright is still our treasurer, late summer, Randy Cooven will be our new treasurer. For some reason, under state law, they don't take their position until way later in the year, even though Randy Cooven was elected in November. And is Randy here? I think he is, isn't he? And finally, Larry Sims, after he was elected our sheriff in 2008, he retired this year, and our new sheriff, and believe me, we love Barry Riley. We just love him. He's very important to us, and since he's involved with law enforcement, and we're all very law-abiding people here in the county, I'd like you to introduce Barry Riley. So you've got other very competent people like Dr. Updegrove, who I didn't see here today, and I know that Matt Nolans, our auditor, was here today, and David Forngel, our prosecutor. I didn't see is Linda Odie here, who's our county recorder? Any event, they're all very good. They do a very good job for this county, and they're the backbone of a lot of the services that are provided. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Tom. I'm going to avoid the corny jokes, but the first agenda item for me, scratch, introduce class of 25 elected officials. That is now off my list. This is my 21st State of the Union address. So, and on a personal note, with some things that happened over the winter, I am very, very happy to be here. And I don't want to ever take this for granted. The other thing I don't want to take for granted is working with 2 incredibly sharp and smart public servants. Both of my fellow commissioners bring a different point of view to our discussions, and I just really appreciate it because they're both so experienced and have different areas of expertise. I think it brings a wonderful balance to our board, which I really do appreciate. Last week, I was with a college buddy and reflecting on how old we're getting. 21st year doing this. It's weird. I lost my 3rd grade election as class president, and the next year I ran for commissioner and won. This is crazy. But he asked me what were the best things that I've seen over the last 20 years, and we can talk about the Fields Erdel loop ramp. We can talk about the new jail that was paid for by 60% of the folks that pay our sales tax come from outside of the county, and we save $40 million in financing cost by financing it the way we did. We can talk about the new sports complex that's right down the road that Phil and his team projected was going to do 700,000 visitors within 5 years. It's about to be 5 years. We're about to do 1.4 million visitors in 5 years. Unbelievable the amount of visitors that facility is bringing to our town. This little event down in Mason I'm going to discuss here in a minute, but I told them the number one most important thing that I reflect back on 20 years of doing this, it is our financial discipline. It's the way that we protect and oversee taxpayer dollars. We take that so seriously, and we do it in conjunction with, as both my colleagues said, the other elected officials, which make it a very seamless process when we're talking about prudent management of, it's not our money, it's not our checkbook to go, and once you're an elected official, you can make a heck of a lot of friends when you start writing checks to people. We don't do that. When you're just writing checks just to write checks to make political friends of someone, we don't do that. We like to protect the people that wrote us the check, the taxpayer. So we take that very, very seriously. And one of the thing I'm most proud of is we've been fiscally conservative in bad times and in good times, which, as Commissioner Grossman alluded to, we didn't lay anybody off back in 2008 and 2009. Think about that. We're probably one of the only institutions, or private sector, public sector, whatever, not to lay anybody off because we didn't have any fat to cut. So we were proud of that. COVID, same story. And that put us in a position to be in a financial position, as Commissioner Jones alluded to have a tremendous cash carryover. So even when you take into account the commitments that we have moving forward, there's over a $60 million cash carryover right now, unencumbered, that we can look at. So those are the things that lead us into a discussion of our finances. So in 2025, our general fund appropriations are now over $93.8 million, of which 52% is going into our public safety budget, because again, the number one job of government is to protect us, right? Do the things that we can't do for ourselves. 47.5% going to general services, a little less than 1% going to social services, which is mainly handled by state and federal programs. And our sales tax, which is one of the big drivers for our community, is up 4.35%. So even in this environment, we are continuing to fire on all cylinders. We do this not because of us. We do this, honestly, in a lot of ways, because of the folks in this room. You all have taken free market capital and decided to invest it here. We just try to foster an environment where you all can be successful, where you can raise your families, have great schools, a safe environment, and you can invest your dollars and attract a highly competent, trained workforce. That's what we try to do. Then we hand it off to the free market. And the free market, we don't want it to do okay in Warren County. We want the free market to thrive in Warren County. And we've been very blessed that has happened. We've got over 20 projects announced and reported in 2024. New capital, $207 million, over $200 million of new capital committed in Warren County. Nearly 5,000 new or retained jobs, including our friends down at P&G, over a 500,000 square foot expansion to their facility. AccuCure down in Mason, 120,000 square feet. We've always taken the approach with our economic development folks. Warren County is fortunate to be essentially the new rivers of commerce in modern age are highways. We have 2 interstate highways that touch through Warren County, one right in the middle of it. Those mean that we are going to develop over time, correct? But what we've tried to do is, instead of holding up a catcher's mitt and saying, whatever the heck comes down the pike, we're going to get it. And again, nothing wrong with strip malls, but we don't want a strip mall on every corner. We want development that makes a lot of sense here. So we've tried to encourage that free market capital that comes into the community to be targeted. Where does it make sense for you to invest your money? And look at all the advantages for you to invest your free market capital here in Warren County. And I think we've been pretty successful for that. And as Commissioner Jones said, we don't win all the time. And I've got some terrible news for you here in this room. There was a new statistic that just came out from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, and there was a ranking. Warren County ranked on this list, and it was wage and growth of employment and wages. They ranked that for every county in the state. We came in 5th. We didn't win. So I went back and Googled, who were these counties that beat us? Number 1, Bentonville, Arkansas, the home of Walmart. Number 2, San Mateo, California, the home of Facebook. Number 3, Santa Clara, California, the home of Google. Number 4, Midland, Texas, the home of pretty much every major oil company in the nation. And then Warren County, doggone it. I hate to lose. My goal is, let's keep moving up the list. So the free market is here. The free market is thriving. It's coming in. We're firing on all cylinders. Again, not because of what we do, because of what our residents do and what the taxpayers do. And the number one industry here in the county is tourism. And it's estimated that there's more than 14 million people come to little old Warren County each year and visit. Think about that. 14 million people that come here, shop at our stores, go to our restaurants, stay in our hotels, spend their money, pay our lodgings taxes, pay our sales tax. All of that contributes to all of the things that we're in a position to do because we have 14 million people that come, accounting for more than $1.7 billion of economic impact. Major, major league stuff. Tourism supports over 13,500 jobs, according to 400 million in local wages and 217 in federal, state, and local tax revenue. Right at the top of the list, and we talked about this at the beginning, and my friend Randy Kuven came up and said, so I guess you're going to talk a little bit about tennis? And I said, well, we probably should talk a little bit about tennis, simply because our last address last year, if you remember, we talked about it was a highly competitive situation. We liked the cards we were dealt, but this was no done deal. And this board was presented with a situation where our number one global sporting event inside of the state of Ohio, because again, being a big Reds guy and Bengals and all the rest of the things that are going on inside of the state, we have one international sporting event inside of the state of Ohio. It's now the Cincinnati Open. That attracts people from across the globe. I forget, 80 countries, whatever it is, 200,000 people coming to downtown, and we were an inch away from losing that to what was considered a major league city in Charlotte, North Carolina. There was a predisposition to want to move it to their own brand new facility. And then we came up with this plan, which is what we weren't able to talk about last year at this time of the year, where the board, in conjunction with our partners at the state of Ohio and our partners at the city of Mason, came together and said, whether we like it or not, being free market people, you can't pick and choose when you like the free market outcome. And the free market was saying that Charlotte, Mecklenburg County, and North Carolina were willing to pay $130 million to take our tournament. That's not a made-up number. That was in the public domain. These were being voted on. This was the price that the public was willing to pay for this tournament. So we went with our partners to them and presented a plan for them to stay and said, hey, why don't you have a vision of making the current location into an unbelievable location that is going to be world-class, and do it for $260 million, and we'll put in half the money. You're 51, we're 49, you can control it, you can run it, as long as the public owns it, and we're going to get out of your way, and guess what's happening? Drive down 71 and you can see what's happening. It is unbelievable what's happening. And we presented that deal to them in terms of, you're going to save $300-400 million out of pocket, and it's a plug and play. It's already here. The fan base is here. The volunteer base is here. Everything's here, as opposed to all these unknown with your bright new shiny object in Charlotte. And you're going to have, and I don't care how rich you are, $300-400 million out of your pocket is real money. And we presented that plan to them, and they said yes. So now you have right down the road here a campus that is evolving into a publicly owned asset that is going to be used a heck of a lot more than 2 weeks a year. Remember, that event is going from 1 week to 2 weeks, from 200,000 people to 350,000 people, and the economic output or impact is going from like 75 million to over $150 million to the region. It's a big deal. And one of the other things that even when I look out and see some of our international friends that have come in, we don't send our economic development folks from Warren County overseas. We don't send them to Berlin or Tokyo or what have you. I'm on the Ready board of Cincinnati, and they have folks that'll do that. But we don't spend money like that inside of Warren County. But yet, we have somewhere like 40 international companies that have a location here in Warren County. And yet, we don't market like that. Why is that? I tend to believe, I don't believe in coincidences, there's a correlation between this global tennis event and looking for every Spaniard when Nadal would play. What do? They stop and watch Nadal play, and they're looking at the Eiffel Tower in the background. Well, where the heck is that? What is Mason, Ohio? What is this Warren County? There's 40 international companies here. I have to believe there's a correlation between that event and our economic vitality. There just is. So now we wanted to set up, and our entire board was supportive of, we don't want to set up a situation where it's okay to lose. We don't want to lose. We don't want someone else to take our one global sporting event here. So we dug deep and came up with this plan, and we put our money where our mouth is. Our money meaning the taxpayer of Warren County, because we believe in it. So we're so fiscally conservative all the time. People are like, oh, well, I would have thought people were like, but honestly, I've not gotten really one person to even say this. Oh, I thought you guys were fiscally conservative. Why are you putting all this money towards that event? Because people understand what a big deal that is. And I think we had, as a board, some credibility of saying we don't frivolously spend your money. We really believe this is the right thing to do. So we did it. And guess what? Game, set, match. We won. It's staying here. And it's staying here in a publicly owned facility for 25 years is the lease. They're not going anywhere. So that in conjunction with now, think about pickleball mecca of the Midwest. That's happening here. We're going to have all these events. We're literally right now negotiating with a major concert that potentially is going to come to that site. And so there's going to be all sorts of cool stuff that's going on here. Because again, they did a great job of expanding that last year, but you literally haven't seen anything yet. And with that, I would give my other corny line. My buddy, the prosecutor, came up to me and said, Dave, listen, I gotta skirt out early. I just got one question to ask you. How's the state of the county? So, Mr. Fornchel, the state of the county is strong.
Thank you, Dave, and thank you for leaving the corny jokes to me. So this is a public meeting, and at every public meeting we invite the audience to ask us questions before we adjourn. So does anyone have any questions that they'd like to ask of us about the county or our jobs, our families, our personal lives, whatever you'd like to ask? It's open mic. I bet you it's working now. Nope. Okay.
Remember that I said, oh, don't worry, we'll get Eric on the phone, don't worry. But it took a lot of effort. People don't realize all the meetings that went on and the conversations, and it was very close to going somewhere else. So thank you again to Commissioner Young, also to Commissioner Jones and Commissioner Grossman for your support. I mean, I just don't think you all realize how grateful we are here at the City of Mason. Thank you all very much.
Yep. Well, thank you, Barbara. And of course, we needed Mason to do what they did. It was crucial to keeping the tournament here. And also, ultimately, the state of Ohio as well. So thank you very much. The entire council, I think, was supportive of that. I think they unanimously voted to help to maintain the and I think that they really started the spearheading of it to keep the tournament in Mason and in Warren County. Thank you.
How about it? We got somebody else who wants to ask a question? You know, you're pretty lucky to be here. We have a pretty awesome county.
Well, apparently we've answered everybody's questions.
They know how to get a hold of you.
Normally, we get somebody in the audience at our meetings that wants to talk to us about something we did wrong. And we have to explain to them that we do our best, but we do make mistakes at times. Anything else?
It's the jokes.
Yeah. All right. If is there anyone else? This is the last call. Remember, you don't get to talk to Dave Young very often. Nope. Apparently not. All right. Do we have a motion to adjourn? Does anybody else on the table have anything to say? Okay, I'll entertain a motion. Nope. There is something else? Okay, very good. So do I have and yes. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you for all your talk and discussion. And I want to thank everybody for being here. And I especially want to thank our pace setters, Advix, Ultrafiber, Bricker Graydon, Conger, Duke Energy, Festo, LCNB, Otterbein, Sinclair, also Flagler, Huber, Flagler, GMI, MSP, MRDD, Sam's Fisher, SiteWorks, and Mental Health. Thank you all for coming, and this has been such a good talk. Thank you so much.